Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be breaking down the men's 100-meter final. We're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab.
Reach your individual goals.
You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video.
Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become.
All right, so this was an excellent World Championships we got to see yesterday. I mean, the margin of victory was just unbelievable. We'll be able to get more into that, but the final times were Fred Curley 986. We had Marvin Bracey 9874. Right, came in second, 9874, and then Trayvon Bromell came in third with 9876, so thousandth of a second. So it's even hard to be able to really fathom a hundredth of a second, let alone a thousandth of a second. We're going to get into it, but before we do, if you like the information, go ahead and click that thumbs up down below, subscribe to the channel. If you've never been to this channel before, I do breakdowns for athletes to be able to help you get an understanding of, one, how they're accomplishing such amazing feats of being able to run 986, for instance, and then additionally be able to give you a better understanding of how you can do this as well and be able to help you being able to achieve at a higher level. So we're going to go ahead and hop into it here. We got Fred Curley, the obviously winner here, and there's a lot of things that we can go into, right? There's a ton of great things that we could take a look at. One of the main things that I've been doing, and this is my third time of filming this because I've had some issues with the ability to actually get the video to drop right. But if we look to see with Christian Coleman, I mean, he got his third foot down so quickly. We talk a lot about the start, and Christian Coleman undoubtedly had the best start. Look how quick he got that third foot down. But it was interesting to see that Fred Curley is really out in front of like Oblique Seville, way out in front of Simbini here, way out in front of Sonny Brown, right? And so that ends up being very, very interesting when we look and see who ended up coming in first, right? Like this is very, very, interesting to see that Fred Curley, as the high or as tall as he is, still ended up being able to get his feet down a lot faster than some of these guys. The thing is, though, he really started to reach, and we talked about this before with his fourth step. He doesn't do a great job of landing, controlling that first step. We talked about that left leg in the past. So you can see Marvin Bracey, he did a great job of getting that fifth step down. We can see it from this angle too, where Fred Curley ended up being a little bit more stuck, right? See Marvin Bracey getting that foot down, where Fred Curley started to kind of reach and open up a little bit more, and it did end up benefiting him for a short term. Okay, I don't want to make it seem like that was something that just ended up obviously killing his race because he ended up winning, right? But it wasn't something that really helped him out when we look at the beginning parts of the race here. Okay, we want to be able to see, or if we look to see as he's getting started, right, Marvin Bracey did a great job being able to get into his drive phase. So even though Fred Curley went and reached a little bit, got a little bit of short-term distance out in front, Marvin Bracey stayed controlled. And the reason I say that he stayed controlled is we can see like Aaron Brown, they were very similar with their timing here. Aaron Brown did a great job of being able to, Aaron Brown went and popped up a little bit sooner, even though they're both on, like, Marvin Bracey and Aaron Brown are on like the same timing here. And Aaron Brown pops up that head where Marvin Bracey waited a little bit more, stayed down into a little bit more, and then as he got into his top speed, was really able to, as he was getting into his drive phase, really lifted up those hips, which helped him get into his top speed. There's a second here where I thought that Marvin Bracey was going to end up winning this race, and so it was crazy to be able to see that Marvin Bracey was out in front, especially as much as he was. You know, it was a great race to be able to watch and see how it all turned out here. And if we look to see, I want to see there's another angle here. Yeah. So if we look to see some of these other angles, we get to see Christian Coleman a little bit closer up, and then also Trayvon Bromell. Big thing with Christian Coleman is he like sits into that step, right? And one of the things I like to do with these starts, okay, this is going to be that third step. You can see where Christian Coleman's sitting into that hip, right? And that helps him being able to explode off. And really what the action ends up being is we're landing into that foot, absorbing, right? And then being able to push right back off. I'm not huge at teaching the heel to go inwards. I like it to see more of that heel going straight back to help you being able to transition off the foot effectively, and he does that really well. He gets a lot of pull into his legs, which helps him in being able to get out of his foot quickly. There's a lot of things we're going to go into here. Such a great race. We got Marvin Bracey, so he gets into that drive phase. We see him get into the top end, and what happens is, and when we go in and slow it down, you can even see, like at this stage, they are pretty similar in terms of their steps, right? I mean, I'll go back a little bit further. So we can see both of them hit the ground about the same time, transition off about the same time. You can see that Marvin Bracey definitely has a faster turnover speed, right? But the difference is Fred Kerley ends up picking up more distance per step, for one, and he's much more effective with his foot contact time, even though we've talked about with on the left side, he slightly turns that leg out a little bit more, which impacts the foot contact to the left. But Bracey has a similar issue. The thing is, and for him, it ends up being more his right leg that is really turning out, which makes it so he can't generate as much force in the ground, landing a little bit more on the outside, which impacts how well he's able to turn in. He does actually control it pretty good on the right side, but on the left, he ends up really landing in a better position, but not controlling it as well. And the combination of both those things make it so we can't maintain that top speed as well. And we see a similar thing with Christian Coleman, where when he gets to his top speed, he's not able to maintain the same level of pull that he was at the beginning, right? Because you can see how much he turns those feet out. Again, when you end up having the difference with your foot contact time, right? Because what happens here is we see that Trayvon Bromell ends up catching him with the foot contact. If you see how fast they're cycling their legs, right? They're both cycling the legs about the same speed, but Trayvon Bromell starts being able to get his foot off the ground faster, okay? And because he's able to get the foot off the ground faster, because he has a little bit better biomechanics there, that ends up making him the big difference between him being able to win. And Trayvon Bromell really should have won this race. I mean, he didn't have a great start. To me, going into this, he was the best starter in the world, right? Didn't have a great start, was probably fourth coming out of it, right? If we look and slow it down here, I would say Christian Coleman was probably first, Marvin Bracey's probably second, right? And then probably Fred Kerley's third, or maybe Fred Kerley's second, Marvin Bracey's third, and then we got Aaron Brown maybe even fourth out in front of both of them, and then we have Trayvon Bromell fifth, maybe right in line with Oblique Seville, right? Sonny Brown might have been right up there as well. So he was really at the bottom here. He was pretty far back right here, right? I mean, he's behind Christian Coleman, obviously. He's maybe even with Fred Kerley, and he's already upright, already getting into his top speed is a testament to how good he is in his drive phase and getting to his top speed and then being able to maintain the top speed. And we can see what happens here when he gets to the end, right? And this is where it's very important for you to be able to understand you got to run your race, right? You got to be focused on what it is that you're doing in order to win these type of races. I mean, again, we go back into it, it's 1,000th of a second, 2,000th of a second. I mean, it's hard to really understand the level of difference between, these steps. I mean, you could see it obviously in terms of the foot contact time and how Fred Kerley's really able to match Marvin Bracey, even though he's about 4 inches taller. And so these numbers really make a big difference when it comes to the end of the race. If you're able to improve that foot contact time and get plenty of distance per step, that makes a big difference, right? You can see, again, Marvin Bracey starts to be able to separate here, and then Fred Kerley comes back when he starts to be able to really master that foot contact time. But getting back into what happened at the end, right, that because Marvin Bracey and Fred Kerley are going against each other, they know it's going to be a close photo finish, and so they both reach, right? They both extend. They both try to get out in front, but Trayvon Bromell doesn't realize that because he passed Christian Coleman. He passed Oblique Seville. Some of these guys that were all year long killing people within their top speed, Trayvon Bromell just easily ran past them, and so he looks across. Right? Look at the difference. These guys are extended all the way out. Trayvon Bromell is looking across to see who ends up winning. That cost him at least second place, if not third or not first place. If he would have extended right here, boom, extend out, because he might be going the fastest right there. If he extends out, because he caught Christian Coleman, I mean, he was behind not too long before this, right? He's behind Christian Coleman. Boom, he's going, and now he's extending out. Or they're extending out, he looks across. If he did extend out, he might have won here, right? Look at the difference. I mean, look at here where Fred Kerley is. If he does that same type of thing, same type of extension, Marvin Bracey as well, He might be a little bit in front. This angle isn't perfect to be able to see, but it's very, very close right there. I mean, he's right there. So very, very interesting. As always, guys, like the video if you like the information, subscribe. I'd love to let you guys, or I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. If you think that Trayvon Promell could have came in first, if he would have extended out a little bit more, extended out instead of looked in. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot we can go into, right? Oblique Seville definitely needs to be able to work on his start in order to compete at the level, or at the highest level, right? He also got beat by Fred Curley out of the start. And I mean, Oblique Seville's young, but he's not that young. I mean, Fred Curley's 22. So, I mean, Oblique Seville is going to have to get better out of his start. He got beat by Trayvon Promell, who's also 22, 23, somewhere in there. And Fred Curley's at the same age, 22, 23, somewhere in there. And Trayvon Promell blew past Oblique Seville at the end too. So Oblique Seville was big with his top speed and was killing everybody in Jamaica with that, and couldn't hang with the big dogs there. So he's got to work on his top speed. I don't like his efficiency when he's pushing off the ground, right? There's wasted motion that he has when his foot's coming off the ground there with the right leg. He's going into too much internal rotation, which is going to impact his ability to get into dorsiflexion. So there's some things that need to get better. There's some things that have to improve. And these are the things that we look at within the breakdowns, right? The reason I always push the breakdowns is because we want to be able to show you that this is, if you're not working on your mechanics, you're not going to get faster. All these guys are working hard. It's not a matter of the training, right? It's not a matter of what it is that you're doing from a sprint perspective, right? Like how often you're running, how much you're doing weights, how much you're doing plyometrics. All those things do matter, but if you don't have the mechanics, you don't understand what you need to be doing within your sprinting, you're never going to get to the top, right? The guy that came in first, 986, right? And then the person in 10 seconds, right? So 0.14 seconds. That difference is first, right? World champion and 5th place, right? I mean, in 10:02, you'd be in 6th place, right? Sorry, there's two people at 10:01. So if you got 10:02, right? Again, 100th or 200ths of a second, you're in 7th place. So those small details, those small things don't happen just from one step. Right? Don't happen from 5 steps, from 10 steps. It happens over the course of the 100-meter race. There's a ton of things that end up happening. How you land on each step really makes a big difference. And I think Christian Coleman is a guy that, to me, could be so much better if he was able to understand. Maybe he has to take away a little bit from the start and what he's doing there, but it'll make a big difference on what he's able to do within his top speed, because I know he works really hard. There's nobody that he looks so strong. You can tell his legs are very, very strong, very, very powerful, but he's missing some things within his biomechanics that are holding him back from really being the best that he could possibly be. So again, send in some video, and really a lot of this ends up being through video. I mean, we could do it in person. I've been able to get some great improvements with people in person, but recently I had a guy that's running the 60, went from 7.9 to 7.3, right? 0.6 of an improvement in one season, and there's still a ton of inefficiencies that he has. And we're just looking at his biomechanics. And so it is work, it is time. There is going to be some frustrations because you're going to think you're doing it right, but when you look at the video, you see that there's things that can be improved. But what we do is we put language and we put diagrams and we put specifics into what it is that you need to improve. So now you actually have a plan in your exercises, in your sprinting, in your starts. So that's what's going to help you get better, is having a plan, having a focus into your mechanics. And when you can start to connect with that, that makes, again, a big, big difference. A lot of the people that I work with are more into football, baseball, right? Here in America, football is our big sport. Baseball is a big second. I mean, I know we came 1, 2, 3 here for the World Championships, but track and field is not nearly as big. So we work a lot with football as well. We have a faster 40 program. We work with 60 for baseball as well. There's probably not football and baseball people watching this, but if you're in track and you want to be able to learn how to run faster, check out some of the stuff in the description down below. That's going to be the best way for you to be able to improve your speed. I guarantee you there's nothing that will help you out faster and with more specificity than what I'm doing within my breakdown. So check it out down below. I have some great prices for that and can really make a big difference. So again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. We'll be doing the live streams tonight for the women's semifinal and 100-meter final. So check those out. Check out the description. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.